All right, so I want to do this video directly speaking to this idea that getting into inner work and getting into this like working on yourself, wanting to improve one's life in any area, but at the same time having an underlying piece of not wanting to change anything. And what I mean by that is like thinking that once I start an internal, like having this desire to want to create, to change, to say I want a better job or I want to be happier. And so it's like, oh, okay, now I just get to look inwards. And that's like this whole process. Okay, I get to think about all the areas that I'm not happy or I'm not enjoying. And then once I look at those, then I'm done, or like that's it. And then I should be happy once I look inwards. Which, what I'm offering is the second piece is how do you manifest that externally? And yes, when you do the inner work, so much of life will change. I was talking to a friend a few weeks ago. She's a relationship coach, and she's like, she's sometimes a bit hesitant, but yet it's a beautiful thing to share with clients that it's like when they start working with her and they want to improve their relationships, a lot of stuff in their life is going to change. Like a lot of things are going to change because if they want to be in a spot where they really enjoy the relationship, it might require them to not be in the relationship they're currently in. That's not to say that is always the case, but it's like things are going to change, whether that's how you show up in that current relationship or it might be finding something else. And that's the same thing with a job. But it's like something's going to change, a new perspective. Like the frame upon which we are in when we start the inner work is it needs to change or something's going to change. And that's the beauty of it. But like if we go in thinking that all of this can stay the same and all I need to do is just think about where things are not right and then somehow meditate my way into creating that, I just think it misses a piece. It misses the piece of going on this journey of learning oneself, of becoming aware. It gives you awareness of where you might not be free, of where you might not be loving or in integrity or happy. You might not be happy in the specific areas, right? And it will come and it will show you those areas in your specific life externally. And that is then the opportunity to say, if I value in this life becoming a greater human being, a freer, more powerful, loving human being, I can do all the inner work to notice where those things are. And yes, I can create some of that freedom. But until I'm willing to create that in my own life, to like, yes, I can change it internally, but actually start changing my identity externally, right? Like actually start shifting some things around. We only like reap a fraction of it, right? I guess this is just to offer, it's like, yeah, you could stay internally of all the work that you've ever done. You can continue to do it, learn about yourself, become more aware of all the areas that that you're not free, that you're not powerful. And awareness is so incredible. But until we are willing to take that awareness and say, okay, the purpose of me going on this mission in the first place was to actually create that in my real life, right? It's like I've created this internally. Now let's let this work that I've just done, the courage that it takes to even say that, and let that go and be created externally. Like I was in Buenos Aires a week, not even a week ago, 4 days ago. And I had this intention for me to continue aligning with my intuition, with what I feel most true in the moment. And that's my intention, to continue creating a life where I am in full alignment, where totally in my truth and doing, and I'm not always going to do the right thing, but it's like, how can I continue in the moments? How can I continue in my life to go directionally towards that way of living, like that way of being, of like, I am, that I choose to follow my inner truth even when it doesn't make sense. And when I have that, now opportunities where I might not be in integrity of that I am statement, or I might not be aligned, will come up. And like 5 days ago, I finished dinner and my stomach like got really uneasy, and I was like, all right, where is this going? Like, what's going on here? And I ultimately came to the understanding that like being in the city right now, being in Buenos Aires for another week, does not align with my truth right now. So in that moment, I had the opportunity to say, no, Ben, we've already paid for another week. You have a flight to Miami in a little bit, in a week. Doesn't make any sense. You've already settled in. Just wait one more week. Like, why would you change up anything? So that's one area. And then there's this other piece where it's like, oh, right, this is who I'm being, the person who follows his truth. And so I said, what would make more sense? I don't need to do it, but like, what would it look like for me to follow my truth on this? And it was like, I want to be more in nature. I want to be more, yeah, amongst the green and Mother Nature and love. And right now, where I'm at does not align. And so I sat there with myself and I was like, okay, if I'm this person, that means that I take actions accordingly. And so that night, I booked a flight to where I'm at now in San Martin. And I'm here for a week, and then I fly back to Buenos Aires to catch my flight to Miami. And in that action, I'm showing myself the person that I created for myself internally, right? So I'm like creating this loop of the internal work that I'm doing, and then allowing it to manifest externally. And at the same time, I'm not always doing that. Like literally this morning, I was going to a breathwork session, or I was planning on going to it, and I got this feeling that was like, I should not go to this. Like energetically, this does not feel like my truth. But I went anyways. And I showed up, and in the middle of it, I left because it wasn't true. Like I was like, okay, this makes sense. Like why I had this feeling. And part of it is like practice. Like, okay, I'm not always going to get this right. But now I understand what this feeling was like, and then what that ended up becoming. It's just wonderful to be able to create the action around it, because that's where the learning comes from it all. That is what I want to say. Peace and love to everyone. Yeah, ciao.